Hi everyone. Yeah, nice to see you guys again. I know this has been a long time coming. I actually filmed before, but it was a really long video, and I didn't want to bore you guys by talking too much. But yeah, I just wanted to update you guys because it's been over a month of me working and interning, and so I wanted to share my experiences with you guys. And yeah, I guess by that you can assume I'm 100% support raised, so praise God. That was a huge blessing in itself. So now I'm just going to kind of share what the past month has looked like for me, kind of my day-to-day schedule, and then I'll share some prayer requests. Um, so let's get started. The past month. So yeah, the school semester started near the end of August, probably like August 23rd. So students are actually going into their third, fourth week. I just know midterms are happening right now, and a lot of students are pretty stressed. So yeah, the first 2 weeks of the semester, we had a lot of welcome week events, a lot of events where we would try to get new students to come out through social media, through posting on the different class pages, and yeah, putting ourselves out there as much as we can. And it didn't work too well. I think it still worked. We've had about 7 or 8 new people come, which has been cool and a huge blessing for that in itself. I think a lot of people weren't expecting too many people, but just the fact that we were able to get some people and continue to, or 7 to 8 people were the people that stayed. So there were more people that came and showed up, and I think it was a huge blessing to get to meet them and talk to them, and even to kind of see how they were doing. And I think, yeah, that was basically the first 2 weeks. We tried to set up different events where newcomers can kind of ease themselves in, and just meet new friends and get plugged into the community. And so that's something that is still ongoing. Just because those welcome week events are over, we're not stopping the social media or anything like that, or our word of mouth. And actually, something that we've been doing is called Epic SoCal Mondays. And so our SoCal staff team has put on a separate event for that, a separate weekly event besides the weekly, like Cal State Fullerton large groups, or the weekly USC or whatever campus large groups. We're actually doing SoCal Epic Nights, and that's kind of a night where we try to invite students from wherever they are. It doesn't matter um, if they go to Cal State Fullerton or any of the campuses that Epics are on. Like, we just want to invite students because we know it's a hard time to make friends and meet new people. So even if they don't go to an Epic, they can still come and get plugged into the community that way, and just meet new people and make new friends. Um, my day-to-day schedule, it's a lot of virtual meetings. I go from my own staff meetings with staff team people, whether we're talking about what's going on at Cal State Fullerton, or whether we're debriefing content together. So we were able to watch the Asian American PBS documentary together, and we're also reading this book called The Next Evangelism. Um, yeah, we go through content, we discuss it, and we also plan. And right now, one of the things we're planning for is our virtual fall retreat. That's going to be happening in October. So that's kind of something big that we've been working towards. So those are what those planning meetings are like. And then I also have like different courses that I'm taking. So I have to go through class material. I kind of talked about it before, but it's just, yeah, an Asian American seminary class that all of Epic Movement is taking. And it's actually, the Fuller professor said it's the first time that a whole ministry staff team is taking it. So this is like all of the national people at Epic. So it's pretty cool to be able to take an Asian American context and ministry class with one another and different staff members, and be able to talk about that content. So I've been enjoying that. And well, I mean, we just started, and this is our second week right now. So far I've enjoyed the material, and I think I'm just trying to digest everything right now. And besides that, we're also going to, or for me at least, I'm going to Cal State Fullerton leadership meetings, large group meetings, trying to connect with the students as much as possible, and providing ways where we can just hang out. And I think that's something that students have been missing out a lot on, just because it's not in person. They've been missing out on those interactions. So we are all on this thing called Discord, which is basically like another messaging platform, where you can join voice channels and be able to talk to each other without like turning the camera on, or you can turn the camera on, or you can just have different text channels about different topics. So the students have enjoyed using that, and we've been able to hang out on that a lot. That's kind of my day-to-day schedule, and now I will go to prayer requests. Um, And I think the biggest one is for students. Right now, they are going through a lot, and for some reason, professors think that students have a lot more time. I mean, they technically do, but still, like the workload is a lot more than it was in person, or maybe it just feels that way. Um, Students are having a hard time being motivated. They're feeling, like the Zoom fatigue of just staring at screens all day. And I think their mental health is taking a toll, um, as well as their social interactions with one another. It just isn't as much. And then I know it's hard for them. And it's something that as staff, we try to do our best just to be there for them. And that's something I'm working on too, of just wanting to be there for them. And yeah, something else that's been rough for some people has just been relationships with family, just because everyone's stuck in the house. Everyone's has to learn how to coexist, and so the students went from having all this independence to now being back at home, feeling like they're in high school again, or having their parents tell them what to do, or just it's not that it's necessarily a bad thing all the time, but I think um, to go from freedom to, I guess, more restrictions is something that can be hard on relationships at home and can stem to different arguments. Um, and yeah, a lot of students say back to classes like that it's asynchronous, so professors are actually aren't teaching as much as they would have in person, and so a lot of students are having to learn the material on their own, and that leads to a lot more stress, and they feel like they don't have people that help, or that the professors aren't as helpful. One of the things I really wanted to touch on was one of our student leaders. Um, his father has cancer and has been really sick, and so he's taking it like kind of like, I guess you could say, administrative leave for our leadership team. But yeah, he's just taking some time off, and it's really heartbreaking to just talk with him and share. And that's his father has had cancer for a while, and they actually thought that they announced that he beat the cancer, but he just got the news that, um, or the doctor said that there's not much more they can do for him in terms of providing help or chemo. And we've been praying for him a lot, and I think it's it's hard to see a student leader go through this, just because, yeah, I don't know. It's just heartbreaking, and it was really encouraging to see the community come together and pray for him, and just create that space where we can share vulnerably. But I think it's still not easy to hear the news nonetheless, and a lot of people have been supporting him. His family actually goes to FCBC Walnut, and so yeah, he is really great guy, and I think he's been taking it really hard, and so he's been spending as much time at home. But on top of that, it is hard to do school and balance all of that. Um, so yeah, just prayer for him. His name is Matthew. It's just so if you want to pray for him by name, for Matthew and his family. Um, and other prayer requests would be for myself, just wisdom and guidance to be able to talk to these students, and sympathize. As someone who's just recently graduated, I can sympathize with them. But I think I'm still trying to navigate this new student staff relationship, trying to do my best to listen and be aware, and um, just be there for students. I think I'm used to being at Cal State Fullerton and sharing my thoughts a lot, just because I was on the leadership team. But a lot of this now is understanding that I learned so much from trial and error as a student leader. So for me to continue to be like, oh, I think you guys should do this or this or this, it's not something that I always want to do. And I want to be able to kind of guide students in the right direction, but not be the ones to make those decisions for them, or even allow them to come to the conclusion themselves, just because, yeah, it's such a big process in learning about who you are as a leader and what works and what doesn't. And so I'm still trusting God a lot, and with that, and even for myself, like vision for planning events and different things like that. I know this is running a little long. This is the last prayer request would be for the staff team. Yeah, we have been doing a lot of events, and we do staff stuff in the future. So prayer that it'll run smoothly. It is virtual, and there's still, technical kinks that always need to be taken care of, and so um, prayer for future events that us as a staff team can also have vision for what we can provide for these students in the future and what God wants us to do in their lives. And the last one would be rest and self care. I think especially for me too, it gets hard to know like when it's work because I thoroughly enjoy this a lot. And so for me, it's like I always enjoy hanging out with the students, and especially because some of them are friends, but at the same time, like you do need to take time off and self-care, and you can't always be working just because, yeah, this isn't a typical 9 to 5 job. And I think for me, I guess the boundary you would call it of work and just hanging out with them, it can get a little foggy or murky at times. And I think for me to be able to take a step back at times and um, even realize like, oh, I don't have to be there all the time to get students to talk to one another or have those great conversations, but I can also take time for myself. And one of the things that our staff team did was like a half day with the Lord. And so that was just a lot of time where basically we could take half the day off and we just spend it with God. And so that was something I really enjoyed because it's not like a typical job where you don't, I don't know. I feel like that was really cool. Yeah, so this is already a long video, kind of similar. Actually, my other video went like 5 more minutes past this. So sorry for keeping you guys here. I just wanted to update you guys. So yeah, have a good one. And until next time.